Whoa, Pilgrim. Easy. And drop your back. Yeah, right there, by the door. I can smell the smoke from here. What's burning? Rome. Well, fuck, I hope the fiddler was playing a good tune on your way out. Welcome back. Sit down. Take a few breaths. I know I need a few. Come in here in a rush like that, smelling like smoke. It's concerning when I live in a matchbox. Here, cool water. Sometimes a good pull of something very cold can reset the system after a shock. I was just having a coffee. Yes, I am always having a coffee, clever observer. 10 points to Ravenclaw. Speaking of birds, I was also just making them some suet. I have to run to the cellar and get some things. You want to come? Come here. Follow me. Did you notice the big cedar looming behind the cabin on your way in? Just where it butts up against the foot of the mountain? I know, you were trying to outrun a barn burner. Anyhow, there's this big cedar behind the cabin at the foot of the mountain, and from the pass, it looks like the healthiest tree in this entire forest. It's thick and green, and it shades me all summer. I don't even need fans. And all the birds nest in it. Well, not like all the birds' total population, but the diversity that uses that tree for nesting and cover and springtime rituals. Being Twitter-pated, yes. Well, look here. Behind the curtain. Just draw it back. I know. You'd never think a tree like that could have a hole this size nearly straight through it and still support that much life, right? But look at her go. From the pass, she's bulletproof. But in here, she's the front of my cellar. Hey, you need a cellar. I know they seem creepy sometimes, but they are great places for working through things and great places to tuck the oldest, wisest parts of ourselves. Tolkien thought the phrase cellar door was one of the most beautiful phrases he'd ever heard. Like, all-time fave, cellar door. It is nice. It's kind of soft and flowy, and like it makes your mouth make all the shapes. It's fun. Say it with me. Cellar door. And sometimes the value of a thing isn't what we can take from it, what it is, what it costs, what it means. It's in what it makes our bodies do when we hear it, or see it, or feel it. I bet cellar door gave Tolkien goosebumps the first time he heard it. Metaphorical cellars like this one, they're also great places to wait out the fires we just can't fight anymore. This particular cellar was dug into the mountain before the cabin ever even existed. It's the oldest part of the forest. It holds the deepest secrets. And we're about to make some really useful shit in this cellar, Pilgrim. Creepy or not. Useful to the birds, anyhow. Especially now. These cold, cold months we're finally coming out of. January, February, March. It's staying greener, longer out there now, but after Christmas, the entire valley was frozen so deep, the river itself jammed solid with ice. Full stop. And it's a hell of a thing to see a river stopped in its tracks by anything. I mean, literally, though, it was chilling. I get goosebumps still just looking at pictures of it. And those are lean times for a sparrow with an average heart rate of, what, 450 beats a minute? It takes a lot of fuel to keep that motor running like that. Yeah, I know. Just making it 2 weeks between paychecks can feel that way to us in the gray. Or 2 weeks between arguments, maybe. Work weeks in a job that doesn't fit. But that's the kind of stress they're under every day. The ones conditioned to stay in places like this when the leaves start to fall. Either way, you look to me like you get that sparrow trying to replace 10% of its body weight before sundown so it doesn't freeze to the cedar branch. Yeah? So let's make suet. It's all about taking what's no longer useful and stitching it together into something that's greater than the sum of its parts. Something that can keep the stress manageable. So let's walk through the cellar door. Cellar door, cellar door. I know, I'm so sorry. I can't stop now. Well, let's walk through the cellar door and run your hands along the wall of the tree hollow. It's rough and warm, right? It's amazing how a few inches of living boundary can create an entire shelter from a storm. Take a breath. Do you feel how the air is cooler in here? A little damper. It's dark and still, kind of like the inside of your brain when you're not paying attention. Think back to what brought you to the cabin today. Think about the fire. If you focus your awareness for just a second on what bothered you enough to bring you here, where does your body start to hide a little? Hide, like we're hiding in the hollow of this tree. Does your jaw get tight? Your shoulders tense up? Yeah, right there where your wings grow from. That's where the weight of the world rests for me, personally. And I know where my stress lives in my body. So take just a second and feel through yours. Start at the top of your head and just breathe. Unfocus your eyes. Let them go soft or close them if you want. Whatever makes it easiest to draw your attention inward, inside your body, like a spotlight, shining around. Or better yet, let it just be like a liquid velvet smoke that sort of collects inside you. Wherever you send it, there it goes, like a school's little fish. Darts around if you let it, stopping, checking, moving on. Can you feel it? Where is it starting for you? Call it right up to that space between your eyes and let it gather there for a second. Now let it drop. As it does at its pace, there. And cue it all right up at the base of your skull. Good. Now let it off the leash. That's your internal cadaver dog, and it is going to let you know exactly where the shit is buried. So let it run. Let it sniff around in there. It's very wise. And notice where it stops, where it hesitates, where it turns to look behind before moving on. Notice where it returns to after it's already left. You can do this anytime you want, Pilgrim. You can do it in your car, in your office. You can do this in the bathroom of an Arby's if you want to, kid. There's literally no one going to tell you not to. All those little places it stops, those are the places you carry your fires. Our bodies introduce us to our emotions so early, and the gray world is so intent on making them a problem half the time that we forget where they live. And that's not good for us. We need to know where our anger lives in our bodies. Not just so we don't hurt someone else with it or hurt ourselves, but also so we know when our boundaries have been crossed, when we need to stand up for ourselves. Sadness, same thing. It has a job. It lets us know when our needs aren't being met. For me, sadness lives in the burbs. It's in them bubble guts. It's neighbors with anxiety. My joy, it's approximately 3 centimeters in diameter, and it plays hide and seek with my awareness like a fucking golden snitch about 87.6% of every waking moment. It's not even worth chasing. If I just sit still, eventually it tires itself out and comes to sit with me for a little while. It always hops off again, but for a long time, I couldn't trust it to come back, so I would waste 1 metric fuck ton of energy just trying to catch it. This new way is far more efficient. Anyhow, I don't know where your anger lives, or your sadness, or your disgust, or your fear, or your joy, but you can if you just take some time and let your awareness sniff them out. It gets so easy after a while. It's like breathing. And that's when you know your awareness has rendered itself down to intuition. Rendered. Love that word. It means broken down. Like fat melts down. It purifies into the tallow that we're going to use to make this Suet pilgrim. So grab a jar. We will make a double batch, and you can take one home and feed it to the birds in your own gray world. No, like literally, this is a somatic exercise and a recipe all in one. You are welcome. Birds being birds and going ape shit over peanut butter in a tree, it's one of the best things I've found to let my eyes go soft on if I want to really sit and think to the bottom of some things. So come on. I keep the rest of this stuff over here at the workbench. Here's a spoon, and you can go ahead and grab yourself a big ass bowl. They're on the shelf marked big ass bowls. There you go. So here's the tallow. It's the insulation. Actually comes from the kidneys of beef cows, which is pretty gross, but when you melt it down and purify it, it turns into tallow. And it keeps those hollow little sparrow bones from shattering in the sub-zeros, just like it protects the kidneys of the cattle. When the world feels cold and unwelcoming, when there doesn't seem to be a table set anywhere and they have to really forage for every calorie they get, is your cadaver dog on the hunt when I describe that cold? Or is it headed? Or is it bothered? Because that's where your longing lives. Sometimes it likes the belly. It can feel like a sharp tug just under your breastbone, or deeper, like a hot coal burning someplace dark and secret, behind your belly button maybe. Some people tell me it's like static in their heads or hands. Tallow in the bowl. Perfect. Peanut butter is our binder. All natural, no corn syrup, please. It's bad for their bodies, but the good stuff, the real stuff, it holds all this chunky shit we're about to throw in here together. It helps the suet cling to a steep branch when it wants to slide right off and plop on the ground for the ants to eat instead of hanging in there. Yeah, I know you have no idea what that would feel like. Me either. But if you did, where do you suppose your awareness would be settling when you imagine being burned out and overwhelmed? Does it make your heart race, or is it more like a darkness setting, a curtain on your ability to just keep trying? You got to have some stickiness. Otherwise, one careless flap of a wing could send you flying. Crushed peanuts are for grit. Birds actually need a little grit in their diet to digest their food. When I kept chickens, I used to think how cute it was when they looked up at me with one eye and ate rocks. I am a simple girl and I like simple things. Okay, we listen and we what? We don't judge. That's right. But grit is essential. It's the part that doesn't break down, so it can break down what would otherwise kill the poor birds. A whole bunch of unprocessed glue is good for no one's guts. When's the last time that you pushed a feeling or a thought to the back of the line, only to do it again when it resurfaces and resurfaces and resurfaces, as they always, always do? After about the third or the fourth round, you start to feel a little prickle, frustration, a little sting behind the ribs when you catch it circling back. It's like when you see things that remind you of an ex months after the breakup, but you still haven't just done the whole ice cream rumination 3 days of Nurse Jackie protocol yet about it. So you start crying in the supplement aisle because they fucking love ginseng. No es bueno. Okay, that's bad for all species. We throw in millet and cheap dollar store seed for texture mostly, but also for fun. It's like 1,000 tiny prizes in a big box of weirdly fatty cereal. Like Lucky Charms or some shit. Yeah, I know it sounded better to me before I actually said it too, but it is an accurate description for Suet, really. What kinds of little prizes would you want in your Suet if we were making this batch for you? Favorite songs or the smell of your sheets right after they're washed? My millet would be a handful of Raisinets and those little cherry cordial things at the cash wrap and gas stations and dollar stores. Me and my cadaver dog are both deeply food motivated. Get a little firework in my belly every time I see one of them wrappers. It's behaviorism at its finest. A handful or two of dried fruit for sweetness. And these are big prizes. These are the venti lattes and the spa days of avian culture. I mean, you can serve your suet without this, but it's always a really nice gesture. Because nobody doesn't like a treat, right? Plus, this is kind of the fun part. It's the part that puts you and nature right at each other's doorsteps, really, because this is the part where you throw in your own kitchen scraps. Apple chunks, mixed nuts, little pieces of fruit. I always add berries in the hopes that they'll leave my blueberry bushes alone come spring, but they don't seem to be picking up on the social cues. So they do enjoy the free antioxidants, I think, though. Do you remember the last time that you found a $20 bill on the ground or got a text from someone you'd been missing? That's the blueberries in the suet of life. Now, once it's all mixed together, throw in some cornmeal for structure. That's the boundaries. And that's what tells the suet where it ends and the tree bark you're going to press it into begins. That's literally it. You can be fancy about it and melt your tallow down and pour everything all together into a muffin tin and add strings and make it a little art project if you want to. Or you can slap it in a fancy feeder to impress the neighbors. But for me, I like to just shove it in a container and then literally use my hands to press it by the spoonful into the bark of the dogwood outside my window. Feeders are great, but I mean, what is a bird's bread and butter if not a tree, right? The woodpeckers and the nuthatches, they already know how to dig their meals out of the fissures of that bark. I find that keeping it as natural as possible brings the most different kinds of birds. Besides, it's basically adult Play-Doh if you use your bare hands to press it. No one is too old for a sensory toy. I don't care who the hell you are. Either way, all that matters is that you've taken all these raw ingredients and you've turned them into this. Here's a jar to carry it back with you for your big cedar tree or wherever you want to put it. I mean, they'll eat it off a rock in your yard, man. You don't have to have a tree. They're like little fiends. They don't even care. Got room in your pack there? Good. And they will thank God for you for putting it there. It's mutually beneficial. Citizen science. Come here. Take a peek over here. I know, that's 327 jars for me this week. It's been a rough one. Processing more than my share lately, but look how many birds I can feed on this work. Look how many hard times they can get through on this. It would have just been peanut shells and kitchen scraps cluttering up my kitchen otherwise. And every cabin has a carrying capacity for unprocessed shit. Exceeding it is usually how those kinds of fires you ran in here to get out of start, my friend. Trust me. Just make suet instead. Process your shit. Your brain and the birds will thank you. And don't forget to let that internal cadaver dog run a little every day. And don't forget about the cedar. There are so many people walking past you every day, more than you can possibly know, with holes like that straight through the very center of them that they don't discuss. It's grief, longing, loss, all the hard ones. They hollow us out eventually in little pockets or as one big space. They do hollow us out. But if we keep them processed, we can use them to fuel 1,000 tiny precious things. It smells like the smoke is clearing out there. You probably better go assess the damage and get back up them steps, Pilgrim. Back to the gray world. And let me know what kind of birds you're able to draw out with this stuff, yeah? It's a tiny rebellion every time you do. Fucking delicious. Like suet to a winter sparrow.